Welcome to the Empire of Secrets. Every episode, we peel back the cover on history's strangest mysteries, from lost cities and secret files to sightings that refuse to be explained. We follow the evidence, question the official story, and tell the stories that textbooks skip. Ready to go past the surface? Let's dive in. There are stories that refuse to die. Whispers that echo through time, as if the earth itself remembers something we have long forgotten. One of those whispers carries a single name: Atlantis, the lost city, the drowned empire, the civilization that might have sparked the memory of humanity's first golden age. For thousands of years, Atlantis has haunted our imagination, a mystery suspended between myth and archaeology, between what we know and what we dare to believe. But what if Plato's legend was not just a metaphor? What if somewhere beneath the waves lies the evidence of an advanced world erased by a cataclysm so powerful that it reshaped history itself? Tonight, we journey into that possibility. Our story begins in ancient Greece, with a man who shaped Western thought, Plato. Around 360 BC, Plato wrote two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. In them, he describes a civilization so extraordinary, so advanced, that even his students thought he must be speaking in riddles. Plato claimed he was not the source of this story. He said it was passed down from his ancestor Solon, who heard it from Egyptian priests in the city of Sais. The priests told Solon of a mighty empire that existed 9,000 years before his time, an empire that ruled vast territories across the Atlantic. This civilization, they said, possessed magnificent cities, advanced engineering, powerful fleets, and spiritual wisdom beyond measure. But the Atlanteans became proud. They lost their harmony with the divine order. And so, in a single dreadful night, the earth shook, the seas rose, and Atlantis disappeared beneath the waves. Plato ends the story there not as fantasy, but as a warning. For centuries, scholars argued that Plato invented Atlantis as an allegory, a moral tale about power and corruption. But not everyone agreed. Why would one of history's greatest philosophers risk his reputation on a myth? Why would he place such precision into its geography and timeline? Atlantis, he wrote, lay beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. It was larger than Libya and Asia combined. Its capital was a perfect circle of land and sea, surrounded by shining walls of orichalcum, a mysterious red-gold metal. Could such detailed description have no source at all? Some say Plato was recording a fragment of human memory, a story passed down through flood myths, from Sumer to Egypt to the Americas. A memory of a world that perished in the same cataclysm that ended the Ice Age. In 1968, a pilot flying over the Bahamas noticed something unusual near Bimini Island. A long, linear structure beneath the shallow water, massive stones laid out like a road. Divers later called it the Bimini Road. For some, it was proof. Could this be the last visible trace of Atlantis, lying where Plato said it might be beyond the pillars, across the ocean? The discovery reignited public fascination. Writers like Charles Berlitz and explorers like Edgar Cayce had already spoken of an Atlantean civilization that once spanned the Atlantic. Cayce even predicted that part of Atlantis would rise again near Bimini around the year 1968. Coincidence or prophecy fulfilled? Scientists quickly dismissed the find as natural limestone formations. But even natural patterns have a way of teasing human intuition. And so, the myth persisted, half buried, half reborn. Fast forward to the 20th century. Oceanography, geology, and satellite mapping began to reveal something astonishing. The end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, was marked by sudden global chaos. Massive floods, rising seas, a dramatic shift in climate known as the Younger Dryas. Graham Hancock, a British author often dismissed by academia, asked a radical question. What if the flood myths of the world, from Noah to Gilgamesh to Plato's Atlantis, all describe the same real event? A civilization destroyed in a single moment of cosmic violence. Hancock's theory points to a comet impact, or a series of explosions that ended the Ice Age, melting glaciers and drowning coastlines. If that's true, then much of humanity's early history now lies hundreds of feet beneath the sea. Underwater archaeologists have found ruins off the coast of India, Japan, Cuba, and Malta, structures that date back to a time when those lands were dry. Could these be fragments of a forgotten epic? When the waters rose, millions of square miles of habitable land vanished. If there were advanced cities there, their stones now rest in silence beneath the abyss. Consider this. Across continents, from Egypt to Mesoamerica, from Bolivia to Indonesia, ancient builders created megaliths of astonishing precision. Massive stones, perfectly aligned to celestial events, carved with accuracy beyond what Bronze Age tools could achieve. The Great Pyramid of Giza aligns with true north to within a fraction of a degree. Pumapunku in Bolivia features stone blocks interlocked like modern machine parts. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, dating back 12,000 years, displays advanced astronomical knowledge long before agriculture was even supposed to exist. Are these coincidences or fingerprints of a mother civilization that once taught humanity the first principles of architecture, geometry, and the stars? Some researchers call it the Atlantis hypothesis of civilization. The idea that humanity's first true culture was not born in Sumer or Egypt, but reborn there, inheriting echoes of a much older world. In Plato's description, Atlantis was not just a city. It was a system, a union of science, spirituality, and nature. Its people mastered the art of balance between material progress and cosmic understanding. But over time, that harmony broke. The Atlanteans, Plato says, began to hunger for power. They extended their rule across islands and continents. They forgot their sacred origins. And when they turned against the divine law, the gods withdrew their favor. In a single day and night of misfortune, the earth shook. Mountains collapsed. The ocean swallowed their temples, their ships, their pride. But perhaps not their memory. Modern science may be beginning to catch up to the myth. Genetic studies show mysterious anomalies in human ancestry, sudden jumps in knowledge and population patterns around 12,000 years ago, right after the global floods. Marine archaeologists in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, and the Indian Ocean continue to find unexplained geometric structures at depths suggesting pre-Ice Age origins. And then there are the myths from the Hopi to the Egyptians, all speaking of a previous world destroyed by water, and survivors who spread across the earth to rebuild. Could these survivors be the ancestors of those who later built the pyramids, the ziggurats, the step temples, the megaliths? If so, Atlantis was not just a city. It was the cradle of human rebirth. Part 8. The Forbidden Map. One of the strangest artifacts in this mystery is the Piri-Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. It shows the coastlines of Africa, South America, and Antarctica. Not the Antarctica we know today, covered in ice, but one that appears ice-free, mapped centuries before modern exploration. How could that be possible? If ancient navigators once circumnavigated the globe, they must have done so long before recorded history. Some researchers believe the map was copied from even older charts, preserved from a pre-cataclysmic civilization, perhaps the last echo of Atlantis' cartographers. Myths are not born from nothing. They are fossils of memory, carried through language and time. Every continent tells the same story: a great flood, a fallen world, a few survivors who rebuild civilization. The Maya called it the end of the fourth sun. The Sumerians told of Ziusudra, the flood survivor. The Egyptians spoke of Zep-Tepi, the first time when the gods walked among men. And Plato called it the day Atlantis sank beneath the sea. Different names, same memory. If Atlantis truly existed, its ruins may not be waiting to be discovered, and they may already have been found, misidentified, or buried beneath centuries of disbelief. Graham Hancock often says, "We are a species with amnesia." Perhaps the question is not whether Atlantis existed, but how much of its legacy we still carry within us. Every temple that aligns with the stars, every myth of a deluge, every spark of ancient genius may be a coded message, a reminder that human history is far older and far more mysterious than we have been taught. And if history moves in cycles, as the ancients believed, then maybe the story of Atlantis is not just about the past. Maybe it is a warning and a promise that civilizations rise, fall, and rise again. That knowledge, once lost, can return. That beneath the waves of time, the human spirit endures. Perhaps somewhere, deep beneath the Atlantic, a city still sleeps, its marble halls silent, its lights extinguished long ago. Or perhaps Atlantis was never just a place. Perhaps it is the memory of a time when humanity lived in harmony with something greater. And if we listen closely to the ocean, to the stones, to the myths that never die, we might just hear its heartbeat still. Thanks for listening to the Empire of Secrets. If this episode sparked your curiosity, leave a like, drop a comment with your theory, and subscribe for new episodes every week. Want more sources or a follow-up deep dive? Tell us in the comments and we'll cover it next. Stay curious and see you in the next episode.